The following is a non-profit horror story narration. The story narrated with full permission and cooperation is written and owned by the author, who is credited in the subject line and in the description down below, along with a link to the original story. This video may contain some material such as violence, creepiness, jump scares, adult language, and suggested content which may not be suitable for some viewers. Please support the official release, and viewer discretion is advised.
I won a private island in a local raffle, complete with a house and a dock. You'd think I'd be ecstatic, but I'm not. It's not some slice of tropical paradise. It's this tiny, lumpy thing with a shack stacked on top of it. It sticks out of the cheapskate bay like a turd in the sun. The shack itself could fit in a 2-car garage with wiggle room to spare. I didn't know it was going to be like that when I put down $50 for a ticket. The island that was used in the gas station poster showed a big wooden couple of acres, far from our little town. An aerial view showing a huge dock on one end, and a large log cabin in the dead center. I'll tell you now, that's bullshit, but I won it fair and square. When I came forward to claim Turd Island, it was pretty easy. A half an hour of signing papers and talking to some people. I was handed the keys to the shack and driven to the dock by the boat. Leading up to the tiny shack was a sun-bleached path of wooden steps, all the way to the rickety porch. Turd Island was such a letdown that the interior of the shack was an improvement. Barely. It seemed to be in fine enough shape. A square living room with a big, funny-looking rug on the floor, couch and coffee table to the left, an antique roll-top writing desk to the wall on the right. Back third was where the bathroom and kitchen were. First to the right, second to the left. The walls were covered in shelves full of strange stains. Candles everywhere, tiny and huge, in every shape and color. Some were melted, some pristine in their holders and jars. The right wall, with the desk flush against it, was covered in showbox shelves, each compartment with something or other inside. A bundle of herbs here, a jar of stones there, seashells, coins, feathers, and tons of tiny, weird shit all over the place. I look upwards. Above me was the loft, where I was told the bedroom was located. Tiny broomsticks dangled from the low ceiling. Dream catchers and chimes swayed lazily at the windows. I recognized the evil eye. The blue and white glass tied to the broomstick hanging from the shelf. It was so small, but it was homey? Cozy? I wasn't sure. The place was dated at any rate. A couch from the 70s, a table from the 50s, an antenna sticking out of the roof when I got here. But the fridge and stove were practically new. A small, older flat-screen TV rested in the corner before the kitchen. That roll-top desk had to have something inside it. I doubt anything in this place was for show. Lifted the segmented wood cover, I found a few pens, sketch pads, a leather-bound notebook, and a folded-up piece of paper. One edge of the paper was shredded, as if torn from a book. Chicken scratch scrawled across one of the blank sides. Addressed to myself. Not by name, but who else could this letter be for? To the new caretaker of Checkerspot Island. I remember laughing quietly in the emptiness. Checkerspot Island didn't have the same ring as Turd Island. I sat at the desk and flipped open the yellowed paper. You're gonna be pissed by the end of this letter. I was pissed too when I got landed with this place. Nothing for it now. You've likely won a raffle, and you signed enough paperwork to make your eyes go cross. So here's what you have to know. This island has been around for as long as sailors have been at sea. It's old, it's small, and it's holding something underneath in the muck of the bay. Checkerspot Island has been left to someone new every 5 to 30 years. The time's dependent on how good or bad the caretaker is. Someone new has been coming into this island for hundreds of years. Those leather-bound books upstairs date back to at least 1780. People willingly came here long before then. It wasn't until 1940 that the raffle began. People stopped coming forward the faster modernization rolled in. For $1, you can win your own private island, complete with house and dock. The winner would be drawn a month or so after the drawing was closed, and the island would have a new caretaker. Simple as that. Or not. This place isn't made for more than one person at a time. Right now, that person is you. You won the raffle, and you signed the contract. The island and everything on it is your responsibility, whether you like it or not. I gotta make that clear. This is your home now. For at least 5 years, but no more than 30. Under the woven rug in the living room, you'll find a trapdoor. It's covering the reason you're here. Inside, you'll find a pipe, made of cast iron, surrounded by concrete. There's all sorts of scribblings on the underside of the door, all meant to keep that thing underground. You could probably fit your arm up to the elbow down the pipe, but I don't recommend that. That's how you lose your fingernails. What's inside the pipe? Well, it leads to the thing beneath the island. What's under the island? Hell, no one's sure. Look through the books upstairs. There are records of previous caretakers. It's different for everyone that looks. A gaping mouth, a humanoid void, boiling smoke. It's never the same. It's just there. The one thing people can't agree on, I found, is what it does. Corrupt. Not the political or monetary kind, the visceral kind that leaks out and into the town. ShadowCrest is the only place the corrupted had reached for, but it's pretty much staying in the town borders. Annapolis is getting little of it, and Riva is doing well. But ShadowCrest, that's the epicenter, where most of it comes to a head and lashes out. I've seen it. I didn't understand it, but now that I've been here for 20-odd years, I know. It touches people that look for things they shouldn't. It's not just limited to Ouija boards and tarot cards. The corruption finds the weak ones, the broken and angry people, the ones willing to sell their souls for anything from a winning lottery ticket to one more hit of heroin. The ones willing to lure a little kid away from home because they're already sick, and the corruption was close enough to give them one little push. From what I do know, it has the habit of manifesting through water. Wild water, not well water. The bay itself has enough salt to brine 100 corpses. But this thing, the corruption, it dives down deep. It comes out in creeks and springs, pops out of the ground to hide in puddles and snow after rain and storms. It's weak, but so are those it preys upon. That's the problem. It can't get stronger, but it's able to spread. No amount of incantations and sage will stop it from that. The corruption, however, it gets weaker every few years. Just a little, but enough to call it progress. A positive thing for once in this hell. You're going to want to leave when this letter is over. But that's the catch. You can't. As soon as you signed that contract for the island, you signed away your life. Nothing will kill you or harm you. No sickness or death will happen. But if you try to leave the island, be it by boat or blade, you won't be able to. Trust me, I've tried so many times myself. Try as you might, you're stuck until some other poor bastard gets the winning raffle ticket. Here's some of the most important things you need to know. Because if you're anything like me, you're gonna try to leave. Rage for days, and then get to reading those books. So here's the 3 things you need to know in order to survive this place and stay sort of sane. If you look into the pipe, you will. I did it on my first day. Rub a clove of garlic over your eyelids, then swallow it whole. Do not open the pipe hatch for at least 3 days, and you're going to have to do the whole thing over. If you hear whispering coming from the pipe, wrap equal parts cumin, sea salt, and onyx chips in a few basil leaves. Drop it down the pipe. Chase that with a quart of solar water if there's any screaming. Solar water is the jar on the porch. Lunar water is the jar on the kitchen. And for fuck's sake, if you hear someone you know calling from the pipe, plug your ears and do the following. Get the cauldron from the shelf by the evil eye balsam and light a buddy burner under it. Top down at the desk. Add a pinch each of black salt and bloodroot. Crush and add a single soul berry to a cup of red wine in the cauldron. Wait for the steam to mix. Then add 2 to 4 drops of Styrax oil. Open the hatch and dump the whole thing into the pipe. Slam the door shut and light the black taper candle. Seal all gaps around the door with the wax. Do not open the door until you hear weeping from below. Toss the blue lace agent down there if you feel bad about it. I never did. Everything is labeled and you got enough food to last you for the first week. Someone's got to keep watch over this thing and keep it subdued. No one's found a way to kill it, and we're barely able to contain it. That's all the hope we have, and you're the next in line to do it. By the time you read this all the way through, I'll already be under the house. There's a hatch under the dock steps that you will go through one day too. It's the only way to get that thing underneath. I swallowed a little of every herb, oil, and gem I had, and I chased it with as much blessed water as I could. You're gonna have to do that too, one day. You won't be able to open the hatch until your replacement comes. Only one person can be on this island at a time, and the old caretaker always ends up under the house, with the corruption. Now, the part that no one tells you. No one's gonna help you. The cops are told this place is abandoned, and your calls won't go through to anyone anymore. It's the local government that gets things into gear, puts up posters, advertises, collects money for the tickets. They even pay the supplier a good sum of cash every year, just a boat across the bay of the dock. I just got a letter into my last supply drop, saying I was free to go on January 17th. The money for the tickets goes to your food and electricity, so you're not going to starve to death. So you're going to have to wait it out like me. Best of luck to you. Your supplier can get you anything you want short of a firearm. He comes on Sundays before noon. He can come to the end of the dock, before the hatch steps, but no further. You got it? Oh, and there's a half-drunk bottle of scotch behind the floor tub. You're gonna need it. A.K.A. Grant, Caretaker of Checkerspot Island, 1994 to 2016. I thought it was silly. A joke to get me to reconsider. A well-done prank, but nothing serious. I looked about the place again. It was confining. Could have been over 300 square feet. A ladder leads upstairs where I guess the bed was supposed to be. Tiny broomsticks overhead swayed slightly. Suncatchers spat red and blue flecks across the walls. The scent of wax and burnt herbs hung heavily around me. I decided to leave. I couldn't have been gone for more than an hour. I figured the boat and its driver would still be there, waiting for me. Stepping outside, peering down the wooden walkway. I saw no boat. Only the bleached dock, stretching out into the murky brown bay. The lights of the house across from me glittered, mocking me. I had my cell phone, but I didn't know anyone who had a boat. Calling the police wouldn't do much either. Even if I did, the island had almost no reception. Letter or not, I knew I was screwed. I tried to jump off the dock, maybe swim to the shore, but it was like my ankles were tied to the boards. I tried to walk to the water, but I couldn't go past my knees. It was like a rope clenched around my waist, tethering me. I did everything I could for a whole day. I tried. Yes, I tried to kill myself. I vomited the pills I swallowed. The knives barely made a mark, no matter how hard I pressed them to my wrists. There was no rope to tie a noose, and no beam to throw it over anyway. I was so desperate that I climbed the roof and I jumped from it. I woke up on the biggest pile of leaves I have ever seen, with a headache to rival all others. 4 days of crying and swigging scotch from the bottle. And it happened. A voice. From the pipe. Blurry from tears and booze, I fell to my knees and crawled to the source. Flipping the rug from the floor, I found the door. Already halfway to the ground, I pressed an ear to it. A voice, soft and sad, called out.
Baby? Are you up there?
I knew her voice in a second. Abby? A sad laugh.
Yes, it's me, baby. What are you doing up there?
I opened the door, no more than a square foot of wood with an iron D-ring set to it. There, in the floor, surrounded in concrete, technicolor wax, ashes, and dark stains, sat the lip of the pipe. Black mat and sticking just a bit out of the concrete. It sat like a gaping hole. I shouted down the pipe. Abby? Abby? Why are you down there?
They trapped me, baby. They trapped me so you never find me.
Even in a scotch-soaked stupor, I knew better. Who trapped you? No one came. Not for a minute, at least.
Let me out, baby.
But I could feel the resonating bass growl behind my girlfriend's pleas. Why? The growling grew violent, fierce. Abby's voice cried above the din.
Please let me out.
I couldn't help myself. I fucking knew better. I've been the one to ID her at the morgue. I knew better, but I was being called. I had to know, but leaned forward and looking down into the gaping maw of the iron pipe. I saw it. Or my idea of it. A windmill of greasy black feathers rolled and spun shaking. Eyes, black and wet, peeked up at me from the cracks between the feathers as botflies from a carcass. It hissed like cicadas, stunk of rotten berries, and a hot damp breath hit me with full force. I lunged backwards and hit my head against the writing desk. The letter fluttered on the floor. The hot, damp breath smelled of menthols and Budweiser. The smell that spelled fear when I was just a kid. Abby was gone, her voice replaced with that old drunken rasp I spent years trying to erase.
Come here, kid.
His husky, lacking laughed.
Come here, sit on Daddy's lap.
The last word ended with the roar of cicadas, and the stink of menthols filled my nose. I vomited, planting my hands to the floor. Scotch and bile splattered the floor. I moved away, still hearing, but blocking it the best I could. Under my left hand, I heard the crinkle of paper. The letter had been spared my vomit. I didn't have earplugs, but I had the letter. Kicking the door shut to silence the now raging thing below. I reread the list of things I needed. Thank God the jars and bottles were labeled. Cauldron ready, I began. There was a giant glass jug of shitty red wine under the desk, and I couldn't measure for the life of me when drunk, but I had to shut the raspy thing up. I fumbled my way through the instructions, waited for the steam, dropped, mixed, and plucked the burning hot cauldron from its perch. I opened the door once more. I settled on my knees and started to tilt the mix toward the pipe. From below, raging louder than the cicadas and the bass growlings the pipe could spew, I heard my father's voice shout out, "You little shit!" I dumped the mixture down the pipe, my fingertips raw from the hot metal. I heard the screaming of 1,000 outraged beasts and shut the door. The black candle wax filled the gaps, and the screams slowly muffled. I dropped the cauldron, panting, far more tired than I ever been in my life. I stood on shaky legs. I needed rest, to get away from that thing. But I didn't clean up the puke. I'd kick myself over in the morning. Rag in one hand, rusty bucket in the other. I kicked the rug out of the way. It unfurled onto the floor, washing the wood with purple. That rug wasn't funny looking because it was old, or ugly. It's one of the most intricate things I've seen in my life. Symbols and glyphs were hand embroidered into the fiber. I saw the evil eye here, an outward-facing hand there, a human with long hair and a flute of some kind, a circle with two outward-facing crescents on each side of it, and so many more. Black and white symbols swirling and interconnecting on a huge circular rug. The barefused symbols I knew meant about the same thing: protection against evil. That was a few days ago. I didn't forget to clean the vomit, and the garlic on my eyelids, you know. If the wine mix could shut the thing below up, I have to try the rest of the things listed. There are dozens of spells and mixtures I have to catalog in my own book. Am I okay with all this? Hell no. But what else could I do? I can't leave. I can't die. I'm done trying. According to the letter, the delivery of supplies will be here Sunday before noon. I'm gonna have to ask for more scotch. Maybe whiskey. I have earned it. I'm gonna need some bandages for my fingertips, but that's a given. Guess I'm gonna take inventory for all these things. I'm just happy to have my tablet with me. Someone should know where I went, what's happened to me. Reception out here is choppy, at best. I had to stand on a chair just to get one bar. I hear weeping from the floorboards. I have to go.